you guys, all right. Fix me up, will you? Make me beautiful. Shape up, serious stuff. We're talking etiquette. Serious, all serious. Very serious. Okay. What is a polite way of saying, shut the up, you idiot? You're wasting my time. I hate you. Okay. Hey, I'm Heidi Dulebohn. I'm an etiquette expert. Thank you so much. You've sent in your etiquette questions. I can't wait to answer them. Let's get started. What does etiquette mean to you? This has been a lifelong journey. I was raised by a very strict British mother. I am a graduate of the London Academy of Protocol and Etiquette. And then I went to Brussels and I spent 2 years there to get a master's degree in protocol, soft skills, and diplomacy. So then I went to Harvard and I went to Northwestern and I have executive certificates from there. Etiquette is knowing that there are ways to do things that are considered acceptable. It's a lot more than how you hold your knife and fork, although that's important because, believe it or not, people will judge you. It's not supposed to be like that. And at the core of etiquette, that's what it boils down to, treating other people respectfully. This is a good one. Should men pay for the first date? If you really want to know the etiquette rules, here's the etiquette rules on this. The person who asks, they are acting as the host, they pay. Now, do you have to go by that? Not necessarily. What are your sensibilities? What are you comfortable with? Okay, so follow-up question. Who pays on a same-sex date? Well, I say it doesn't make really any difference. I think the rules are very similar. Before you go out on this date, set some expectations. Airplanes. Shoes on or off? That's just nasty. Nobody wants to see your feet. Do you really want your feet on the floor of an airplane? Maybe there's a medical reason why you need to take your shoes off. That's fine. Then do that, but do it discreetly at your seat. If you get up for any reason and walk around, please put your shoes back on. Do us all a favor. What do you do with food that you bite into, chew, think it's gross, and wish to spit it out? Let's say you're at someone's home, a dinner party. They've worked hard, they planned, they invited, they cooked, they spent a lot of money, and you're there and you bite into it and it's just God bloody awful, you hate it. Guess what? Etiquette says in that situation, you have to swallow it and then just go on about how great it was. Unless you can do it very discreetly into a napkin. And that's kind of an art form. Takes a while to do that. What's the best way to give a plate back when you definitely didn't like a portion of the food and barely ate it? Napkin over it? No, that's really, really rude. The napkin should stay on your lap until the very end of the meal. And when everything is all finished, then the napkin finally goes onto the table to the left of where your plate was, never on your plate. When at a fancy dinner party, if someone were to break wind, is it the first person who smells it, in fact, the person who dealt it? I don't think I understand that. Let me just, okay. Most likely, I would say yes. Is it bad etiquette to chew your ice at the dinner table? Yes, it is. That's really not good. That is bad form. Oh, this is good. When you're at a coffee shop and they spin the iPad around asking for a tip while staring into your soul, is it rude not to tip? Okay, that's called point of service tipping. I say leave a tip, be as generous as you can. However, I do not like this point of service tipping. I would much rather leave $1 or $2, say for a coffee, in a tip jar. However, if you're stuck with the iPad, you don't have any cash on you, do the custom amount, do $1 or $2. Remember to tip, but come on, this point of service stuff's gotten a little bit crazy, right? What is the difference between etiquette and manners? Etiquette is an art form. Etiquette is about knowing all the rules. Etiquette is sort of the noun and manners are more of the verb where you're minding your manners. You're actually putting all the etiquette practices into practice. Okay, I have a little video. Is this true?
Congratulations.
For what?
You know, your thing tomorrow, renewing your vows. You congratulate the groom. You offer the bride best wishes.
Oh, best wishes.
Why, thank you, Luke. How sweet of you to say.
That is actually true. This goes back to the ancient Greeks. It's a very old-timey wedding etiquette. Congratulations, you lucky dog. I don't know how you got her, but way to go. To the bride, it was best wishes, because you wouldn't say to her, oh my gosh, I don't know how the heck you got that guy. Congratulations. So you wouldn't say that to a bride. How do you politely uninvite someone from your event? Ugh. You cannot. How much should a wedding gift cost? Oh, classic question. Old adage. Figure out, okay, the reception. It's gonna be about probably $200 a head, so my gift should be about $200, right? That's kind of an old-timey rule of thumb, if you will, and that really has gone out. It should cost something you're comfortable with and is something that the couple wants and needs. When eating a scone, or scone as the Brits say, what goes on first? The clotted cream or the jam? Okay, well there's a whole thing to this. So just go with how you'd like it. But if you want to be super proper and you want to follow the queen, cream, then jam. How do you properly hold a wine glass with stem versus without stem? All right, party. Thank you. We have a glass with a stem. You always hold a stemmed glass by the stem. Well, one theory is that you are going to put fingerprints all over it, and that's not going to look very nice when you set down this beautiful glass. Another thought is you're going to increase the temperature. Your body heat is going to change the temperature, so you don't want to do that. But we have stemless glasses. My husband prefers them. I'm a stem kind of gal. What's the etiquette with that? Well, don't have this big old hand all over it. No, be a little more elegant and just hold it at the bottom. Not too much, there we go. Have a smell, swirl, and then you have a sip. That's really lovely. Very nice glass of wine. Here's a great question. How do you eat a croissant? Well, I'd show you if I had one. Oh my, how lovely. Look at this. Beautiful croissant, such a history. I've made a video about it. Catch it if you can. It's a great story. Croissants are one of life's joys. Who doesn't love one? Okay, so what's the proper way to eat them? Well, you just start tearing off the end and diving in. And you eat bite by bite. I have seen people pick this up like an ear of corn and just start going in. I've seen people take a knife and fork and they're so proper doing this with a knife and fork. No, quit showing off. It's finger food. You tear it one bite at a time, start at an end, and go through. This is fun. How do you eat sushi? Oh, art form. Sushi appeared. Wow, this is fantastic. There's etiquette with this, believe it or not. The rolls and the nigiri, it is just fine to use your fingers or chopsticks. If you have sashimi, no fingers, only chopsticks. You just tear off one end of this paper envelope. Alrighty, here we are. Save the wrapper because the chopsticks at the end of the meal go back into the wrapper. Well, you just simply pull them apart like that. Do not rub chopsticks against each other. That is saying these chopsticks are so inexpensive that I must get off any splinters or anything. Well, no, there's no splinters. They're fine. There is a lot of etiquette around all of this. Just remember, the ginger is meant to be a palate cleanser. The wasabi is really not considered polite to put wasabi on a roll. And there's already a little wasabi in these rolls. So for you to add this is saying that the chef didn't know what they were doing and it wasn't done properly. The rolls are perfect the way they come. Sushi is meant to be eaten one bite at a time. You don't take it and break it up. Cheers. That's just lovely. I've had my bite. Now what do I do with my chopsticks? Set them down and don't point the points towards someone. Let's just pretend it's at the very end of the meal. We put our chopsticks into the wrapper in which they came, set them down, and that is the polite way to handle disposable chopsticks. We can get in the weeds with sushi etiquette. You want to know more, please let me know. When eating a steak, why do we hold our food with the fork in our left hand and cut with our right, only to switch and then eat our food with the fork in our right hand? Seems like too much work. Yes, well, that's called the zigzag method. That is how Americans eat, as opposed to the continental method, which is seen throughout many parts of Europe, where your fork always stays in your left hand, the knife always stays in your right hand. The historians believe that we were all zigzagging. The early days of the United States, they were following what the Brits were doing, which was zigzagging at the time. The Brits said, no, wait a minute, these upstarts, these colonists, they're eating the way we're eating, we've got to change all that. And they kept the knife and fork in the same hand. And so either is right for Americans. And here, this is a great true story from World War II. So there was an American spy, and he was totally immersed with the Germans. Totally. His language, his German was perfect, no accent. He looked the part, he acted the part, everything was perfect. And one night, and he's a great spy, he's getting all kinds of really great intel, and they're out for dinner one night, and he cuts, and he puts the knife down and switches the fork to the right hand and eats. He was found out. An American eating with the zigzag method. So you think it's not important how you hold your utensils? The guy was found out. Should you keep your pinkies up or down when taking a drink? No pinkies. One time I was watching AD Open Doors, on YouTube. I love that. Tommy Hilfiger and his beautiful wife were showing us one of their beautiful homes. It was gorgeous. And then they said, why don't you come in for tea? And then they had a cup of tea and they said, pinkies up, and they're drinking their tea. I actually wrote to Tommy Hilfiger on Instagram and said, that is really poor form and you should know better. I didn't hear back, but anyway, I got it off my chest. So no pinkies.
Perfect.
What is a polite way of saying, shut the f up, you f***ing idiot. You're wasting my time. I hate you. Okay. Who hasn't felt like that? I mean, we've all felt like that, right? But did you say it? But we've all felt like saying, would you just shut the f up? I'm so sick of this. And you can't say that though. You just can't say that. So what are you going to do? You're already worked up. Your emotions are high. You've let them get out of check. So first thing, reel it in, get hold of yourself, take a deep breath and say instead, excuse me, but I would really beg to differ with what you're saying, but at this point, I think we've both said enough, and so let's maybe just take a little break and let's just change the subject. There's a lot on the line, it depends on who you're speaking with, but it's another person, and you shouldn't really be treating anyone like that. Just be kind, it's free. Thank you so much for sending in your questions. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Curiously. And if you want to know more about me, well, follow me on my YouTube channel, Heidi Dulebohn, or my website, HeidiDulebohn.com, at Heidi Dulebohn on Instagram.
Yay, good job.
Thank you guys. That was fun. That was really fun. I looked forward to it.